was Digital Conversations. Today we are here for the launch of a very special book, Metaphors of Memory, published by Westland Publication. The book is authored by Dr. Natwar Sharma, who's an associate professor in pediatrics and pediatric critical care at Savita Medical College Hospital in Chennai. He's currently on a sabbatical and connecting with us today from Kuwait. He's also a member of the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, United Kingdom, and has served and trained at the Apollo Hospitals, Chennai. He's a certified member of the Earth Association of Regression Therapy and a certified teacher of transpersonal regression therapy. He has been presenting his research work at the World Congress of Regression Therapy since 2011. A trainer of the heartfulness system of meditation, Dr. Sharma is currently pursuing a PhD to study the effects of meditation on the body, mind, brain, heart, and aura. In conversation with Dr. Sharma today is eminent journalist Uma Prabhu ji. She has been former group editor with Z News and ITV News and chairperson of Manav Sadhan Vikas Sanstha. Over to you, Uma ji, to take the conversation forward.
Hello, everybody. First of all, let me thank Oxford Bookstore and Westland Publications for inviting me here to have this conversation about this very exciting book. And Dr. Sharma, I must really compliment you. I've read your book, and yes, and the book. What struck me was the lucidity with which you have written this book. It's almost like a river, you know, starting from its source, very spontaneous and rhythmic. And we are going to talk about the content now. Dr. Sharma is not a new person to me. I've known him for almost a decade and a half. Am I right? You know,
yes,
yeah, and I've seen him wearing different hats. He's been a pediatrician. He's an associate professor, all those things which Neeta talked about just now. But and he's also a trainer of the Heartfulness Institute, which is being practiced in more than 108 countries. I mean, you know, and lakhs of people are following it. But what I had no clue about is his tryst with this, if I may term it, paranormal. Sharma ji, I want to ask you a question on this. It may sound a very rudimentary question, but because there'll be all sorts of people who will be keyed in onto this session today. So what exactly is this past life regression? And that's for those who are uninitiated into this. What exactly is past life regression, and how different it is from the traditional psychotherapy or, you know, other forms of, other forms like this?
Okay.
Could you hear my question?
Yeah, I can hear you. So if you look at regression, there is a common misunderstanding about regression. When you take the word regression, we always go to past life. But this is not the case. Regression can be current life and past life. So what do we do in regression is basically tap the subconscious and unravel the memories which were traumatic, let it surface, let catharsis happen so that the healing comes in. In psychotherapy, what we tend to do is we basically talk about a problem at a conscious level. Your voice.
I am not able to hear you. You're getting, you're cracking.
I'm sorry, let me change the network 1 second.
So, Dr. Natwar Sharma's book.
Is it audible now?
Yeah. Are you there again? Yeah. So talk about what is past life regression.
So as I was just mentioning, see, the term regression automatically goes with past life regression. What I'm trying to insist here is regression basically means moving back in time, to regress. That could be in this life, into a mother's womb, or into another lifetime.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So wherein we access the subconscious mind to retrieve the traumatic memories, bring it to the conscious mind, understand the whole process, allow the catharsis to happen, get the new wisdom, that brings in the healing and integrate the part which was hurt. Psychotherapy basically deals at a conscious level wherein we are not aware of the root cause of the problem.
Okay. So one of the things that struck me in your book was that you mentioned that you yourself, being the high priest of modern medicine, had doubts about this therapy. You know, there was a cloud of doubt. So how were you able to overcome this? You know, what is it that happened that made you, get into this and actually use it as a complementary therapy to your practice of modern medicine?
Yeah. So believe me, this cloud was a big dark cloud. It was not a small one. And the cloud was taken away in steps. So when I began, of course, there was doubt. But my spiritual guide, Chariji, actually motivated me to go to the depths of it. He would always, with his wise words, check on me. And he would say, don't have blinkers. Don't be too close to a tree so that you miss the view of the forest. And once I started doing that, see, things start in a small way and then turn big. For example, I start doing something. When it works out, I develop a belief. And then it turns into conviction. Then trust starts developing and then becomes faith. So when I started working on the clients, when I started seeing the results, I could not deny the results. The solution, people were feeling better, people were feeling good. But at the same time, in the background was, okay, was it active imagination? Was it just some kind of mental catharsis? That's the second one. Third is testimonials of people. For example, they undergo a session, they see a place, they see certain things that happened to them in the past life, and they go back to that place. They check out, actually those things exist. That person existed, the place exists, the same wall, the inscriptions on the wall, everything is like, wow. And this gentleman has never been to that place in this lifetime. He's never heard about it. So things like that. And plus, if you read Ian Stevenson's work on 20 Cases of Reincarnation, where he would travel to India, find out children who would recall the past life memories and would say, yeah, this was my name, this is how I died and everything.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that reminds me, maybe this is also a case of past life regression that I'm talking to you about. One of my friend's son said around age of 10 or so suddenly started talking in Greek, fluently without even understanding a word of it. Probably this is one of the kind of a thing,
Yes. Yeah. It's xenoglossy. Xeno is foreign, glossy is language. So xenoglossy it's called. Yeah. Sometimes during the session, I had several instances where people spoke, in Japanese. One person spoke in Persian, and one person, I can recall, was speaking Nepali. And I didn't understand ABCD of it. I just recorded it. I kept on saying, and then I told the conscious part of this person to understand what it means. So he gave me the gist of it. So yes.
How many cases you must have done so far?
Well, I don't have a count, but last year I was checking, so probably 1,400 or 1,500 clients. And when you look at the number of sessions, probably more than 5,000.
But do you have to prepare? Sorry, go on.
Yeah. And I have clients in over about 60 countries.
Okay. But do you have to prepare for these past life regression sessions? You prepare yourself, or do you also prepare your client? How does it go? What is a typical past life regression session is all about,
Okay.
Is it only chatting, or it involves something else, because your cases I have seen, in your book, most of them are you're chatting with them. So what is it,
Okay. So there are two questions, preparing myself and preparing the client.
Yeah.
The first, preparing myself, as a therapist, it's very important to be non-judgmental. It's very important to be neutral. And third one, very important to be grounded. So for me, fortunately, grounding has come from my spiritual gurus and the practice of meditation.
Okay.
And also cleansing is something very unique about heartfulness that helps me cleanse the impressions, whatever form, because it's not an easy work to deal with clients in the sense, because they come with problems, you know, they're not coming with something to see something positive or something. It's usually traumatic.
True.
So you deal with negative emotions all the time. So it starts affecting you somewhere. So this actually helps. Number two, being neutral helps. Of course, I take breaks, you know, I travel out to let my mind, you know, regear again. Plus, you know, family time is very important.
I'm sure.
So, yeah. So this is how it helps me to prepare myself. And coming to preparing the client. So the first thing what I do is, so I interact with the client to understand what the problem is, what is the intensity of the problem, how long has it been there, and how desperate are they to get rid of the problem. Is it a physical problem? Is it mental? Is it psychological or emotional or spiritual? So once I get to know the problem, see, one good thing is as a doctor, I have, you know, this understanding of the problem in depth, which helps me to analyze if I can help them with regression. So once we accept that this is what we're going to work upon, the next step would be to take a detailed history session, which might take an hour or so sometimes, because here we are digging to the root of the problem. We keep peeling to address where is it stemming from. So that finishes a major chunk of my job. And then once that is done, in the next step, we actually get the client into the trance where we work on the subconscious to retrieve the memories. And that's where the healing happens.
Great. But what if you meet an obstinate client like me who refuses to go in trance? What do you do then?
Okay. So number one, fortunately, most of the clients who are willing, they come forward. They are ready to participate. Like, you know, I tell people, if you have a boil, you know, there is a difference between a raw boil and a ripe boil. You know, as if the pus is ready, you just tap it, it comes out. And when people come out of force, for example, a spouse brings the other spouse saying, boss, I'm fed up with this guy, please help him out. He is a drunkard. Believe me, it doesn't work, because unless there's willingness to take help, unless the person realizes the problem, he cannot treat it. So there's no diagnosis. What's the point of treating the patient?
So willingness is important on the part of the client.
Yes. Most important is willingness.
And your attitude.
Yeah. And then there should be an issue. So people come and say, oh, I just want to do regression to find out my past. No. So there should be some reason to do it. Why dig a grave when it's not necessary? Like, you know? And when people say, do all need regression? No. So who goes to a doctor? A patient goes to a doctor. So when you have a problem, you go to a therapist.
True. And what are the memories that come, you know, like, are they only past life memories, and is this the only way to get those memories? You know, you understand my question? So when in a typical, suppose I'm your client and you regress me. So what kind of memories I'm going to get? Number one, do you know that, or it's spontaneous on my part? You know, B, is this the only way to get those memories? These are the two questions that I wanted to ask.
Okay. So first question is, if I'm going to zoo, what do I expect to see? I expect to see animals. So similarly, the memories that retrieve, see, believe me, there is no second Uma like you in this world. So you are
unique.
So every individual, every individual is unique and the problems are unique. There may be a common set of pattern or stereotypes, but every session is unique because the memories which are retrieved are unique to the person. So I go with a neutral mind. I let their mind open up because see, the major role in healing is played by your own mind, the client's mind. Okay. I am just helping them, guiding them to go through the process. Yeah. So the memories are unique to the person, to the problem. What, for example, if you have migraine, severe headaches, usually, not always, you go into a lifetime where you had or into the current life where you had a severe head trauma, which was almost lethal or lethal.
Like the Nita or Sindhu from your book, you know.
Yeah. So then the second question you asked me is it the only way to retrieve memories?
Yeah.
No. So you might have heard from people having nightmares as a child, or people saying recurrent dreams coming again and again. I don't know where it comes from. What is the reason it keeps coming again and again? The third is like a deja vu when you go to a particular place. I feel I've been here before.
And I've seen this person before, you know.
I've seen this person before. I have been into this, into this corridor before, or this place before. It feels very familiar to me. Or in Indian context, astrologers who commonly say, okay, this is what happened in the past, that's why you're suffering. Or clairvoyants. The big example of clairvoyancy is, wherein Edgar Casey would go into the trance and channel the past life of people, for people. So there are ways. And, Pratiprasav, during meditation, sometimes you get, these visions which are actually past lives.
Okay. Now, see, in your book, there is this Mr. Anand, who is a middle-aged person who came to you completely crippled. I think he was an obesity person. He had obesity, right?
Overweight, and yes, of course.
No,
he had
Anand was, And then William, there was one William who
William was obese.
And he had related problems of blood pressure and all those kind of things. Then little Mona, your first pediatric regression patient who had farsightedness. Now, when you regress this person, or maybe tomorrow I come to you and you regress me, okay? And I am telling you that I was some king in Greece, in this part of my life. How much of those things are real? Because see, you yourself said mind is a very potent force and it is capable of almost anything. So how do I know that it's not figment of my imagination and my catharsis could happen because of that? So how do you know that it's real?
Okay. So there are several ways which actually tell us that, yes, whatever I'm going through is true. The first and the foremost is the body. So for example, say I have claustrophobia. So when I question the client, okay, what are you scared of? And every claustrophobia is unique to the person. Or when I get into lift, I feel scared. When the window is closed, I cannot tolerate. When I get into a tunnel or underground, I feel scared. So what happens? I feel palpitations. I start feeling suffocation. I start sweating. So when I find those charges in the physical body happening, I said, repeat it. I'm scared to die in a closed space. I'm scared to suffocate and die in a closed space, or I'm scared to suffocate and die in a closed space alone. So different things. So whatever comes out of the client, you repeat, and believe me, you say 5 times, your body starts reacting. Your chest goes heavy, your hands and feet become numb, you start palpitating. Then we go into the lifetime to understand what actually happened. Okay. And during the process, you actually feel the same feelings in the body.
Can you give a example from your own book regarding this?
Yeah, there's so many examples. For example, if you take the example of Anand, okay. So when he regresses, he sees himself as, a beggar sitting under a tree, and legs are like thin and, unable to move, as if there's no life in the legs.
Okay.
And the same feeling exists in this life, like he feels he cannot move his legs. So coming to the previous example, as a claustrophobia, when you remove, regress, catharsis, understand everything, and then after session gets over, you repeat the same sentence. There's no palpitation, the suffocation is gone, hands and feet feel fine. And most importantly, when you face a situation of a dark space or lonely space, you're not scared anymore.
True.
So this is one. Second thing, as I was mentioning, okay, so figment of imagination. Let's take a figment of imagination. So I had a client a teenager who had esteem issues, confidence issues, stage fear, okay, can't go forward to do things or cannot confront and things like that. So I take him into a lifetime, and this guy says, "Oh, I'm John F. Kennedy.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm giving a talk, and people are mesmerized." So when I started session, when I started the session, he said, "Yeah, there is sinking feeling in my stomach, and my throat is going dry." But then when he started saying, "I'm John F. Kennedy, I'm feeling good," it doesn't match. No.
got it. Yeah.
So a negative feeling in the body is not matching with the positive response it's giving. And then I said, okay, there is something, just get back to the same feeling, feel it deeper, the throat going dry, stomach sinking. Oh yes, I'm a guy who is 20-year-old. I'm part of a tribe. I'm giving a talk to people to create a rebellion to fight the head of the tribe who's a crook. And while I'm doing it, suddenly 2 people who are associates of the head of the tribe, they come and strangulate me, and one of them stabs me in the stomach. And there I'm feeling I took a step forward to change things, and everything went away. Now my parents are old. Who's going to take care of them? I shall never confront again, or I shall never take a step to address people, kind of thing. Such conclusions made. And then what triggered it in this life? So I'm a 6-year-old boy. I'm asked to play on the stage. I am supposed to play the farmer's role in on the stage. And while I'm walking, my dhoti gets stuck in the foot, and dhoti is out, and I'm seen.
Oh my God.
And everybody is laughing at me. And there, I'm feeling choked. The sinking feeling in the stomach begins. And I'm frozen there. I can't do anything. Luckily, the teacher comes in. She covers me and takes me away. But then I will never again, face people on the crowd, because it will bring me shame, or it'll let me down, or something bad will happen. So that's how, as a therapist, it's important to understand if a client is drifting away, to bring back. So why is the client drifting? Because a part of him wants to feel great and nice, because he's been living in darkness. He wants to see light, because he's living in poor confidence, poor esteem. He wants to feel like Kennedy. You got the point? Yeah. So we understand where it comes from. So then we tell the client, it's fine. It happens. Don't worry.
Okay. So the onus is on you to get the correct cues, right?
The onus is on both. Okay. Because the client also is sort of, should be responsible, and he should come out of a perspective of healing. See, I have clients, who are neurotic, or who wants to self-aggrandize, who wants to just, play drama. And, there are people who cry so well, and they say, yeah, my whole body, this thing. Yes, taken for granted. But at the end of the day, what happens? There is no healing happening. There's no change, no shift. That tells us, yes, it was a figment of imagination.
So what is important, from I surmise, is that it is the thought which occurred to you when you are undergoing a traumatic situation. It is the final thought which occurs to you. That is a defining point, and that transcends life after life to give to, and then translates into some sort of a disorder or disease. Am I right? The final thought.
Okay. So it's a final conclusion at death. For example, I'm dying of a heavy trauma. Okay. And at death, I conclude that the world is a very miserable place. I will never trust anyone.
Okay. Like one of your cases. Yeah.
I will never trust anybody else again. Yeah. And then when you're born, this life, you start growing up, and then you find unable to trust becomes a big factor. And because of that, you don't make friends. Because of that, you start feeling lonely. Then you start feeling sad. You start getting depressed. Yeah.
But tell me something, like for instance, when a client goes into past life, regresses into its past, and if they find that the past is very traumatic. Either they are the perpetrators of some crime or they are the victims. Okay, like for instance, your Anand. Anand, if I recall, he was a Nazi soldier under training, and he was brutally killing everybody. And he came to you on crutches, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. And to the point that he even killed his own pet dog, although on the orders of the commander. So, like, what was Anand's reaction when he, met with this kind of a incident in his past? What was his reaction? Didn't he get flabbergasted or anything like that? I mean, such kind of things may remain with you. So the onus was on you also, how to get them out of that kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. So if I recall the session, so it was very traumatic for him. And he almost cried for 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because he couldn't take it. How can I do such a thing to a simple being like a dog, which was so loyal to me, so lovable, so obedient? How could I have been such a mean person? Okay. So when the client is going through this, it's always good to let them, vent out, cry out. Okay. Then I said, okay, before you joined this training, Nazi training, if you put yourself there, would you have ever done such a thing to the dog? No. He said, never. So now, what changed from the training, when the training started, till the time you became like this? So it was the training, the conditioning. I said, what did it make you feel like? He said, I became a robot without human feelings, without human emotions, without heart. So, and what does it feel like? It feels like a heavy armor on my chest. Okay. And it's like a big helmet on my head. I said, would you want to hold it still? He said, no, I just want to dump it. I said, dump it. How does it feel? Yeah, I can cry now. I can connect to a dog. I said, just connect with the dog. Okay. Just hold it in your arms. Tell the dog how sorry you feel and tell everything. Plus, you also understand that when you died, you carried that guilt that I killed a dog who loved me. And that's why I choose to reincarnate another lifetime where I am dying a horrible death.
I got it.
It's a whole picture. When you complete the whole picture, then it's even. But if you don't complete, yes, that's when I say it's incomplete work and it's not closed. You're stuck. See, stuck doesn't mean that I'm in the session and I'm gone and I never come back. No, that is coma. Doesn't happen during session.
Okay.
Stuck means after session gets over, even though your eyes are open, even though you're involved in daily activities, something in the background is striking you. I am a killer. I killed the dog. I killed the dog. So that is incomplete work.
But tell me something, in your career, in this particular career, it's either your experience or someone else's experience. Suppose you are regressing a person. What if that person gets stuck in the past life and is not able to come back? So how do you cope? And even if you have not come across this is a possibility, right? I mean, this can happen. So what is your take on this?
Yeah. So let me give an example. I had a client who underwent past life regression, had 3 or 4 past lives opened up, and she got worse after that. So she said, I went for help, but I feel even worse now. I feel haunted with my own past. These were her words. And then when we get in, we take one by one and finish every lifetime and close it. It's like a surgery, If I cut open the wound, I open the abdomen, and then I look in, oh, I don't know what to do. Pack it up. Sorry, I can't help you. Boss, you created a wound. Now better finish it off. So that's why regression is no less than a psychic surgery. That's why I tell, when you deal with people's minds, you should be very careful.
True.
Because, if you start some work, finish it. If you don't know, you say, don't know, take help. Okay, take your senior's advice. Okay.
Got it. Yeah. See, you say understanding your past is the key to understand your present, and without knowing who you were in the past life, You can never really truly know who you are in this particular life. Okay. But what if people don't believe in reincarnation? Because this is a lot to do with lives after lives. Because, you know, so what if they don't believe in reincarnation?
Okay, let's take it this way. Have you seen your past life?
No.
So why have you not seen your past life?
Well, there has not been an opportunity as yet.
Absolutely. Plus, in your inner voice tells you, not required, boss. I know my way. I know what to do in life. I know what is my ultimate goal. So we don't need to see a past life. As I gave an example earlier, only patients go to doctors. Only people suffering who want answers. Many people don't need answers. They know what it is. The inner voice tells them, boss, this is how I need to lead my life. This is how I need to finish my duties. This is what is expected. Every religion teaches you that. And if you look at religions or faiths which don't believe in reincarnation, one way it is good because you're not blaming everything on the past. You know, I'm lazy. Oh, I know I'm lazy because of my karma, what I did in the past. So I'm lazy. So you are just throwing your, or taking an excuse in the past. This is what happened, this is my karma. No, there is always a possibility with the human mind taking charge of your life, using your willpower to change it.
Yeah, certainly. But tell me something, what struck me when I was reading your book through the cases is this intuition of yours. There's a lot of stress on intuition. You see, I would say that it's how you decipher the clues that you get. Maybe it is the awakening of your inner wisdom. And somewhere down the line, you have mentioned that I give credit to my gurus. So can you elaborate a little more on this, please?
Okay. See, when you look at, let's take it this way. Our souls are alike. The soul within you, soul within me, are they alike? We all know we come from one source. We are all same. But what makes us different are the coverings around us. Okay. So ultimately, when you look at the root of our origin, we are all same. We all have wisdom. We all have intuition. But most of us don't want to use it. Even if we have it, we deny it. When you take an example of, for example, I need to tune in a radio station, okay? 98.9, say FM. So when I'm adjusting, there is a lot of noise until I reach the station. But when I tune in there, there's a beautiful music playing there. Now, what meditation does is you start looking inwards. You connect with the inner self or the wiser self. And in heartfulness, a guru says, he wants us to become guru. Like the guru is inside you, not outside you. Okay. So when you meditate, when you refine yourself, the wisdom flows in. So you're becoming a channel for the wisdom to flow in, or the intuition to come in.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and how have discoveries happened in the past? It is because a person was in that frame of mind. He tuned his frequency to that frequency so that he could allow it to pass through him and manifest.
So see, there's another common thread throughout your book, which is that some people are more prone to certain kind of diseases than others, which means that every individual has some unique phenomenon in him. I don't know whether it's the right word, that triggers response to a particular disease. Can you elaborate a bit more on this, please?
So I would call it unique susceptibility.
Okay.
So there is something called genetic susceptibility. For example, if I am born to an obese mother who has low BMR, who is obese, I will tend to be obese if I have the similar set of genes. Or if I'm born with a very light skin, genetically I'm predisposed to skin cancers. Similarly, if I'm born in if you take religious susceptibility, for example, if you take in some customs, they tend to sort of, have circumcision done to prevent cancers. Okay. Yes. In some reason they don't. Or social susceptibility. So for example, if you look in Japan, the incidence of cancer of the stomach is higher because they eat smoked and salted seafood or pickles. Similarly, there is emotional susceptibility or susceptibility because of the environment you're living in and the kind of conditioning that is provided by your parents.
Okay. Yeah.
So if a child, for example, a 2-year-old child is playing with a glass and it's like precious, suddenly the child drops by mistake. Now, how would the child react? There are different ways the child can react. Okay, so child may feel, oh, this was so expensive, I broke it. The child is regretting. Second way the child can react, the mother sees, mother comes and slaps the kid. You destroyed it. How can you do it? So child is feeling guilty. Oh, I did a huge mistake. Or a child may feel, look, I didn't wantedly do it. Why are you hitting me? There can be anger. Okay. Or there can be a deep sadness in a child, ki, oh yes, I'm useless, I broke something. So the way a child reacts to a situation differs based on what kind of imprint I carry from my past. Okay?
Got it, yeah.
Yeah.
So one last question. I mean, you say that all of us are souls, so that intrigues me, because I mean, are we packets of that subtle energy in motion packed with, the kind of all the vital information from our past, which is transferred, which transcends lives, is transferred from space, time? What is it? I mean, and how does this soul decides which body to take?
Okay.
What is it?
So you asked 2-3 questions in one. Okay, let me start with first thing. See, when I was working in ICU, okay, I would wonder what happens at death. The body is same, the heart is same, everything. What has left him? The weight is same, everything is same. What suddenly changed? So the soul left. Now, if I can put it into a software terminology of current scenario or sort of metaphor, if you can tell it, or an analogy, I would call it. So when the soul leaves the body, it carries these vibrations around it, which are impressions. Okay. And these vibrations, which are not seen or not actually currently accessible with the tools science has. Okay. And then a cloud, the cloud, where is the information stored? For example, you have a phone. Okay. Your data is off. Nothing works. But you switch on the data. And what happens? All the information is downloaded and you can see everything. Similarly, the soul, when it gets into a womb, it's carrying carrying all the information in the subtle vibration, or I would call ball of vibration or ball of energy, which is invisible, which you cannot sense it.
It's time for us to pose with our book now.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's the book. It's available on Oxford bookstores and oxfordbookstores.com.
Yes, this is available at the Oxford Bookstore and oxfordbookstore.com.
Any other questions from the audience? I would be happy to answer, but I think it's time.
I think it's time, Meeta, right? Yeah. If not, I can ask you one more question. If reincarnation facilitates evolution of souls, up to what level? This is the last question for you.
Okay. So does reincarnation actually facilitate evolution? I don't agree, because in some lifetimes you actually devolve, not evolve. You drop down.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, at death, the soul tries to again get back saying, okay, no, next life, I will not waste this chance. I will do my best to finish the karmic baggage or impressions I carry. But in the process, it adds on more. It might have spent the previous month, adds on more.
Thank you so much, Dr. Natwar.
Thank you so much for hosting, taking out time.
Yes. Because this was kind of a roller coaster ride for me, and I truly enjoyed it. And I hope all those people who are logged on to this are going to enjoy reading your book. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.